Okay, class, so this is a tour of I am under the feedback help right over here from our course menu, grading, keys, and editing revision tips. You click that, you will come to this home page. And although we've already discussed this in class, this is just sort of a recorded tour so that if you have any other questions, you can come back to it anytime you want. So if you click here first, this is just a step-by-step overview, and I will just walk us through this. I'm not going to read these point by point, but what I'm showing you is this step by step. Okay, this is just for directions on looking and accessing the migrate component so that you understand what you're looking at and what you're supposed to do. Okay, so as you go through this, when you go into my grades, now remember that my view as instructor is different from your review. I'm not, obviously I don't have scores here for assignments, but you will. And if anything has it's a yellow circle with a white exclamation point, that means it has not been graded. I believe all of y'all's assignments have been graded by this point. Um, and empty, something that's empty, like mine is right here, means nothing has been submitted yet. Okay. And if there is a blue bubble and a score, the score is, accurate, and then there's a blue bubble. If you click on the blue bubble, which I don't have access to, but the blue bubble will show you sort of a general note. It's not specific, it's not detailed, it's just a general note of sort of what to do next. And from there, you should then click on your actual submission link where it will say click here. Now you will not be able to make any changes once you're inside of here. You'll have to do that on your own document from your own files. But if you click there, and again, I'm not able to, but when you will be able to, because you'll have a submission here. When you click there, it'll open up into its own view. So I'm going to take you guys on a sort of walkthrough of the major essay number 1, narrative structure analysis, because that is what you are being asked to revise specifically. So when you find that and click there, it'll open up to a window like this. Okay. Now our friend Amanda Cunningham has allowed me to use hers as an example. So you'll see something like this, and it's not easy to detect where these notations belong or what you're looking at. So you have to make sure that you have done a couple of things before you're able to go in there and parse these notations out. So the first thing you do is if you highlight right here in the area between the course menu and your submission link, it'll turn dark gray. If you click once, it collapses. And then over here up at comments and markups, if you click this little X, that will collapse. Now you're seeing the notations as they're meant to be presented. And so if you have your mouse, if you kind of hover in the arrow is pointed in the direction of where this notation is relevant, where I am speaking to. It's either in a general area if it's off to the side, or a specific area if it is in the space between your sentences. Okay. Now some of this can get a little crowded. In Amanda's submission here, we don't really have much crowding, but some of yours, there may be some crowded areas around here. And so you just want to make sure that you are going up to each arrow, and the arrow, you'll see that the box will highlight. And so that will show you exactly the location and the notation where it belongs. Okay. And so as you go, it might get a little crowded, but that's how you would parse out those notations. Remember, if there is an asterisk beside a notation, this means that whatever error that has been identified has repeated in the essay. And so I don't go through and pick out every error. I'm not error hunting. I'm just trying to help you identify certain errors that you can find for the editing stage, which is what we're in right now. Okay, and so C7 from the grading key, all right, a notation. Some of you will see G notations or M notations, okay, and those are shorthand for our actual grading key. Now, what I just took you guys on a tour of essentially was every step that I just showed you is found in written form here in these directions for accessing my grades. Now, to access the grading key and use that to understand those M, G, or C notations, you just click right here. Now, what these directions are telling you are to open a new window. See how I have two windows open? This is just beneficial as you're doing this parsing through the notations with the grading key. So you'll notice I'll click here, that's the actual grading key. So when you go back to your paper, say this one says C7. So when I go back to the other window, other tab, I mean, and I find, okay, that's all the M notations, G notations, and then C7. And then there's the notation. So as you can see, these notations are very, very specific, detailed. You only are looking for the ones that I have told you to look at in the general direction or the specific location in your paper. And then you read the comments, and that tells you what I'm saying in this area, whether it be a general area or a more specific area. And so what that'll help you do is identify certain needs for revision and help you begin to revise. And it also blocks against overcrowding. So even though it could get a little bit crowded, if I were to put that entire notation here, as you could see, there's not a lot of space, and there's not a lot of it doesn't add notations in this area for some reason over to the left of the screen. It only uses the right. It gets pretty crowded in here. So this is shorthand. Uh, so anyway, so that's that. And then finally, I'm going to go back here. You may be able to use the grading key itself and be fine and not need to go any further. However, some of you might want to make use of these other extra tips for editing and revision. So right here, housed in this area, there'll be other folders there, and it just will definitely pinpoint for us certain tips that are common for editing and really good. I'm not going to read through these or go through them. You can do that on your own if you wish, but they're just good ways to be successful in the editing stages, and it's all here. And there'll be more information in this area during this week. There'll be an MLA tips for just general formatting, and then there'll be grammar right there that I'll make available for any grammar. Most of that you can get on your own from the grading key, but if you do want another space to just go and find good editing tips, good revision tips, it will be housed there. So that's basically a tour of what you guys are going to be doing this week for your editing and revision. And just let me know if you have any questions.